Have you ever thought that a kitchen could ruin your life? In fact, I constantly see such examples in showrooms and pictures, and I myself actually made the same mistakes at the beginning of my professional path. So, what are the main kitchen design mistakes? The first mistake, one of the worst, is a small work area. Not to be confused with the island length, because an island can be very long, 5 meters, but it often happens that people put a cooktop right next to a sink. Essentially, you get a workspace like this. Recently, I shot a video in Dubai, for example, and there was exactly the same kitchen. You take it out, and here's your space to cook. Imagine, you buy an apartment for $6 million and live with a kitchen like this. This often happens because people build a cooktop into a cabinet and do not put a long enough cabinet between the sink and the cooktop so that their workspace would fit there. What's the right way? Our countertop is divided into several areas. The first part is this, the dirty work area. It is required to put there your shopping, the unwashed groceries that haven't yet been in the sink. This particular kitchen is from Polyform. They've got this whole part sorted. It's easy enough to dump everything in the sink. That is, when we've taken all the unwashed stuff, washed it, we need to take it out and start cooking. We need enough space. 900 millimeters is enough to cook properly. The minimum is probably 800 millimeters. Here they did a little clever trick, a cutting board of this kind, 600 millimeters long. And there are additional places to put something else. Next, when we've chopped and shredded something here, we need to fry or boil it all. And after something is fried or boiled, we need to lay it onto the plates. In this particular kitchen, there is a special such, you see, moving grid, so you can put something hot, and it will not heat the island itself, because it's metal. The second mistake is glossy black surfaces, especially countertops. I once lived in a rented apartment where all the surfaces were black and glossy. It was just horrible. You've just cleaned that surface and 2 hours later it's dusty and dirty again. Especially in the kitchen, when you've got a lot of stains. It's the most disgusting thing imaginable for your kitchen. When we want to make a black countertop, for example, we have a black island painted there. We make a countertop, firstly, matte, secondly, with such ribbed structure. This structure gives spottiness to the countertop, and it then just doesn't show any dust or stains, you just don't see them on it. It really works, it's been tested, use it. Such countertops are available, for example, from Lapitech. In fact, there are many manufacturers out there who make them that way. Usually it's porcelain stoneware with some kind of ribbed surface at the top. The next mistake, where to store your kettle, blender, rice cooker, steamer, where to store it all. Usually it's all stored on your countertop. The countertop's open, and your guests come in. You've got everything on the countertop like that. Where should you keep them? For this, we always make an extra countertop, which we hide behind the doors. That is, the doors slide in and you get an extra countertop here. Here, of course, you can now put both your blender and rice cooker. There are sockets specifically for this. Or, for example, if you don't have the ability to install a similar type of hidden countertop, we also use a corner. That is, if we have a corner kitchen, then we use the corner as an invisible part, the part that is hidden behind the tall cabinets, and there you can place the appliances. People really won't see them from the main part of your room. The next mistake is drinking water. Here you have designed yourself a beautiful kitchen, put everything nicely. But where to get drinking water? You need to put this sort of thing in the kitchen to get your drinking water somewhere. And if you've got a big family, you will have more than one bottle. You'll have several of these standing around. Where to hide them anyway? What to do with them? Maximum inconvenience. The problem is that almost all Italian manufacturers do not make an additional tap for filtered water. So we have a faucet like this, it's beautiful, just gorgeous, but you can't connect filtered water to it. The thing is that in Italy, the water from the tap is drinking water, and they don't need additional water purification to drink it. So we end up having, in fact, only 2 faucets, whereto you can connect water filtration additionally. I have a whole video about kitchen faucets, and they are mentioned there. They are Omoikiri Kanto and Omoikiri Nagano. I just couldn't find any others. You can write in the comments if there are any other beautiful ones. The Italians have only recently started doing this. And then Chia recently launched such a faucet, but it's not particularly handy. We'll wait, simply wait. The next mistake is a small sink, and not even the sink, but the cabinet itself under the sink. Cabinets are often designed 600 millimeters wide. This is the usual width for a cabinet, 600 millimeters. But what do you need to put in those 600 millimeters? Water filter with reverse osmosis. Reverse osmosis means with a huge flask, a 5-liter one. We also should have a food chopper that fits in here, which is also a huge flask. That's what we put everything in, and that's where a rubbish bin should fit in. In this kitchen, for example, the cabinet under the sink is 1 meter long. A huge 1 meter long cabinet, you can fit a lot of bins here, but 1 meter is actually too much. It will be enough to have a cabinet of at least 800 millimeters, and everything will more or less fit in. But if you have a big family and need more rubbish bins, well, do make it larger. The veneer layout is generally my favorite subject because kitchens are usually like this. It's a huge wall of cabinets. The veneer is glued directly to the whole wall there. How do furniture manufacturers usually do it? If you don't tell them anything, they will do you a butterfly veneer layout. You will get such a wall of arrows and hip joints.
Tell me what you see. A pretty butterfly.
People will all see different things in this picture. It always looks bad because you have the same pieces of veneer spread all over the wall. We always do a solid veneer layout. For this, you need to make some preparations. Choose a few packs of veneer. Not one pack as they usually do to save money, but several packs. 2, 3, 4 packs of veneer, so that there are different textures of the veneer itself. So to match pieces and get like a really huge sawn wood end. We do it like that. We go to production, choose veneers, buy them, and then we lay them out right in production on the fronts. And only then do these fronts go into production, ready matched with a normal layout. And then you get the most beautiful wall with wooden fronts. The next mistake is your fridge and the location of its door. Here we have a countertop, we have a fridge somewhere here, and if we set the fridge door like this, then we have to go around the fridge door every time to get something out of it and put on the countertop. You need to design the fridge door in advance so that it opens toward you, toward the cooking. You have to think about it beforehand. Just don't forget that when designing your kitchen. In this particular case, we've got 2 fridges here. Therefore, the doors open in 2 directions. And you can imagine how huge the fridge is. It's just 2 huge fridges. You've got to do it like this. If you have a single fridge, then position the door opening toward you. The next mistake is the plinth of the kitchen. Often people don't care at all about it and make high plinths. They are standard. If you take that IKEA kitchen, the plinth is 150 millimeters. It's right about here. What is the purpose of a plinth anyway? In order to be able to come up close to the countertop, for example, to reach somewhere and put your feet in there like that. If there was no plinth, your feet would just lean against the fronts. I don't know what a monster foot you must have for the plinth to be 150 millimeters high. It's actually done not for the feet, it's done for the baseboard. Because the kitchen is set against the wall all the way and there's a baseboard along the wall. To get it sorted easily, and for most of the baseboards to go under this plinth, they just made a plinth of 150 millimeters. Nowadays, of course, nobody uses high baseboards in modern interiors, and as a rule, nobody uses baseboards at all. So you can easily lower the plinth to 7 centimeters, as all Italian or European kitchens do, and everything will be fine. Such a 7 centimeter plinth easily fits a foot, even in a sneaker. Just look. But even if you now want a low plinth like here, and you've got high baseboards, you can just make a filler strip in the kitchen in the part that comes up against the wall. And that's it. This baseboard just faces this filler strip and doesn't interfere with any door. Ventilation. In normal apartments, there is only a single hole for the exhaust duct ventilation in the kitchen. And most often this channel is taken with this cooker hood. That is, we have a cooktop. Over it there is some kind of hood. And this hood goes into this ventilation duct. When you close this vent, you deprive yourself of natural ventilation. So when you open a window, you have no air coming in because the old air has nowhere to go. Bottom line is, in a situation where you don't have a ducted exhaust system, you have regular house ventilation. Never cover the vents for the exhaust duct. Just get yourself a charcoal hood, something it will draw out and eliminate these unpleasant odors. There are hoods now where you don't need to change filters, they are eternal. There's just a grease filter to clean, that's all. But at least with this hood, you'll still have a ventilation duct and you'll breathe normally. The next mistake is the aisles. This mistake can really ruin anyone's life. I once saw a similar thing in the TV program Question of the House. They made a kitchen, and right here by the sink there was some kind of nightstand in the back. That's about where it stood. The nightstand was so long that an obese hostess, she's quite bulky and elderly, she just wouldn't be able to get near it. That is, this space would not be enough for her to get to the sink. And in order not to show this problem on TV, the hostess didn't like this kitchen. She sat there like that thinking, what now? How am I going to use it? Instead of her son went to the sink, squeezed in like this, washed something and brought it back. Because the hostess wouldn't squeeze in anywhere. What do you need to know about aisles? We have a medium surface and a high surface. If anyone does not know about it yet, watch my masterclass about the layout. I'm telling in detail about it there. Between the middle and high surface, it's enough to make a pass of 8 to 1000 millimeters. But it's a kitchen here and we need to open some cabinets. Because of this, we have to increase this distance. So the average distance between such an island and such a wall is about 1,000, 1,100, or 1,200 millimeters. If you make it 1,200 millimeters like here, everything will be fine. Anything under 1,000 would be strenuous and heavy. This kitchen will no longer be as comfortable to use. But if you make it less than 500, you can't squeeze in here at all. Well, that's it for now. These were the basic mistakes that can ruin your life. If you know any other mistakes, of course, feel free to write in the comments. And as always, like it and subscribe. See you.